Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2018 Delta McKenzie ASA Classic from St. Bernard Abbey in Cullman, Alabama. I'm Greg White. Thanks for joining us on this show. This show, we're calling it the ASA Daily. And what are we doing? We're wrapping up the day's events from right here in Cullman, Alabama. We're going to have information about who's leading the way in the pro classes, even talk to some of the pros. But before we get to all that, let's get back to the fundamentals, the basics of how we shoot 3D archery. Here's PJ Riley. He's giving us information about the targets and how we score 3D.
So here we are right in the middle of the full set of 22 Delta McKenzie targets that they use at ASA tournaments. And they've got a lot of different animals. We got things like the boar here, we got a brown bear there, we got a mule deer, we got a panther, a blessed buck, and we got a pronghorn. What we wanted to talk to you about is the unique scoring ring that they have on these Delta McKenzie targets for the ASA. First thing you're going to notice is this big scoring ring out here. An arrow hits outside of that, anywhere on the animal. Up here in the neck, back here at the back end, that arrow is worth 5 points. Moving inside this outermost ring, an arrow is worth 8 points if it hits anywhere inside this ring, but outside this center circle. Coming into the center circle, this is a 10-point vital area, and you're going to notice it has 3 smaller circles in it. This lower one is worth 12 points. It's also worth 12 points if it hits inside this upper ring, but the archer must say that they want their arrow to go into that upper ring in order for it to be worth 12 points. This center one is worth 10 points. It's just there. It's not worth any more than the rest of the 10 ring. So out here on the outside, what we have is another scoring ring that's only used for the pro shootdowns. This ring here is worth 14 points. Kind of a high risk, high reward scoring ring in that if the archer misses it, it's going to be either an 8 or it's very close to a 5. But that's the highest scoring ring on this target, so if the archer needs to catch up, 14 ring can come into play. One of the cool things about the ASA scoring rings is that the scoring rings are the same size on every target regardless of the size of the target. So that scoring ring on the coyote is the same as it is on the large mule deer, which is interesting. Your perspective is going to change as an archer, whether you're shooting that target close or far, but the scoring ring is the same size. And what's cool is, new for next year, we got a new target that they're bringing into the system. This is the South American Tapir, and Delta McKenzie is going to be bringing this into the ASA line for 2019.
All right, thanks, PJ, and welcome everyone to the Lancaster Archery Supply Desk. Now, look, in ASA, there's tons of ways to compete and massive amounts of classes to compete in. So we thought we'd have a conversation with ASA President Mike Terrell to find out what exactly is going on and who shoots what. So here's PJ and Mike with more.
Mike, first off, thanks for having us. This is a beautiful course you got here.
This is a great facility. We've been coming here for several years now, and it's really kind of a unique facility because it's a monastery. Yeah. It's also a prep school, and it also has some tremendous facilities that we like to use. So it's a combination of a lot of things that goes on to get this together, and a lot of people have to be behind it, but we really enjoy coming here.
We're standing at the edge of a course here that's an interesting event, I think, and I'll have you explain it.
This is our Thursday team shoot. Zebra Strings is our actual host sponsor for the event, and we have over 300 shooters here today on a Thursday. This is an opportunity for the pros to be paired up with amateur partners and shoot a little competition round on the actual competition ranges. It's great practice for them. It gives them a chance to not only practice, but it gives the amateurs a chance to actually shoot with a pro.
Yeah. So I'm nobody. I can't shoot very well, but I come out here, I can be shooting next to Tim Gillingham.
Oh, or even better. No,
Tim will like that.
No, Tim has been one of our great pros for a lot of years, and now he's shooting the known pro class. And this range behind us right now is strictly shooting known. They're all known distance shooters shooting together. And we have another range with open pros shooting with all unknown shooters. And so we try to keep people in their own element when they come here so they can actually practice and work on what they need to be working on and have some fun and get some money. There's guys who will actually come up that have been doing this for years with us. And they said, man, you got to help me out. I've been trying to shoot with this one pro for like 5 years. It's really something I really want to do. And so you move some people around, you give him a chance to shoot with his pro, and then he comes back in and he goes, but we didn't win. I said, well, you're not supposed to worry about winning. You're supposed to be having a good time.
So we're here, Competition Archery Media through Lancaster Archery. We're here because we're going to partner with you to this weekend and going forth next year. We want to try and spread the audience, make it bigger. Tell me what your vision is for this partnership.
Well, I think the most important thing for the partnership is that the entire story of archery, not just ASA or not just the pro classes, but everything that happens at the event, from the volunteers that come in and put the work on, that put the work in to get it ready, the fact we have guys who come in here from clubs throughout the country that participate on a local level and want to support this, to really show the depth and the commitment that everybody has to support our sport, and that they really are vested in what happens at these events. And I'm hoping that over the course of like the next year or so, we can get you guys to come in early one day and watch us unload the truck day one and see the targets come off, because I have people that come in and don't realize the scope of one of these events. I mean, we have over 400 targets delivered in here. And it's not just, two ranges, let's go have a good time. So we're really hopeful that the whole story can be told, and particularly the fact that I have like 3 generations of family shooting this weekend. We've had a lot of people whose children got started in like S3DA, and now the parents are shooting at our events because they want to start shooting too. So those are the kind of things that I think is really important for people to see, and for even the young people to understand that there's more to this than just that one thing they've been seeing. And I'm really excited, and I'm really thankful that Rob and you guys have taken on the challenge, if not just the opportunity, to help us explain that.
Well, and part of both of our goals with this is eventually or ultimately to grow the sport. We want somebody who's sitting at home watching this to say, you know what, that's something I want to go do. I want to come out and be a part of that. And when there is focus on the pros, there are far more amateurs here.
Oh yeah, we'll have 1,800 competitors this weekend, slightly over 200 pros competing. So we have, almost 90% of the people that are here are not shooting in a pro class, and you have, amateurs shooting in the 30-yard classes as they're beginning with their compound bows, with their pin sights, their hunting setups, to guys who are semi-pros trying to get to the pro level. We have something for everybody, and we want to make sure that people understand that this is not just the best of the best only. This is everybody out here having a good time.
Gotcha. Well, Mike, we are certainly excited to be a part of this with you, and we're looking forward to this weekend immediately and next year and into the future as well. But we sure appreciate you having us.
A long relationship.
Well, since this is ASA Daily and we're wrapping up today, why don't we take a look at some of the leaders for the pro classes. We'll kick things off with Men Pro. Brendan Reyes will join us at the desk, 18 up. Hackers, 14. Fan favorite Levi Morgan in 3rd spot, and then there's a tie for 4th place. Transitioning on to the Senior Pro, you have Goza, who's 12 up. McCall is 10, and then that 3-way tie for 3rd spot at 8 up. As we're looking into the known pro, Garrett Ayersman, who's going to join us at the desk later, 30 up on the day, 30 up. I bet Stefan Hansen at 28 thought he had it. Marlowe, Gillingham, and Tedford trail by a few. And then into the women's pro class, well, that was quite a change. Cara Kelly was up quite a bit over Kailey Johnston, but she was able to pull it back in, and a tie at the top of the leaderboard with women pro. All right, so look. The win is on the line tomorrow. There's no question about it. Who wants to walk away with the victory at the end of the season? But also something on the line is called ASA Shooter of the Year. To explain more of what Shooter of the Year is, here is Chuck Cooley.
At the ASA Classic, we award Shooter of the Year. And we're going to do that this weekend at the conclusion of the event. Now, all the different divisions have Shooter of the Year, as long as they average at least 10 competitors throughout the season. In the amateur divisions, it's the top 4 scores that you've shot plus the classic score. And in the semi-pro and professional divisions, it's the top 5 scores you've shot plus the classic. Top place gets 50%, second place gets 30%, third place gets 20%. No shoot-off scores are going to apply. We're going to award that winner later on this weekend, right here at the ASA Classic in Cullman.
On tomorrow's ASA Daily, we will update you on who won Shooter of the Year in the pro class. It's tight races all across the board, and it's very exciting. But now we're going to get back to the field where PJ Riley was able to catch up with our women's pro co-leaders. Here's PJ.
All right, so the day one competition has just finished, and we are here with Cara Kelly, women's pro leader. Cara, how did the first day go? First of all, your score, 8 up.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Yes, thank you. It went well. It honestly, I actually started with an 8 and I ended with an 8. So
Okay.
the rest of the round was the other 18 targets were spot on, and a coyote, we had a pretty tough coyote today, and I ended up 12ing it and just kind of rolled from there and hit 3 in a row, and it just felt things were going today.
Yeah.
Things were rolling, numbers were clicking, and so left a little bit there, so tomorrow's another day.
I have to ask, how many months pregnant are you, and how is it doing this, pregnant and in this heat?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I am a little over 7 months. I am exactly 29 weeks. I have 11 weeks to go. We're having a little baby boy.
Right.
And thank you. And I'll tell you, it has been, luckily it's been hot at home. It's been hot, it's been humid at home, and I'm out shooting every night for, the last 2.5 weeks,
Gotcha.
adjusting. I've but definitely been pumping the Propel like crazy to keep my electrolytes up, and just really trying to condition myself for this.
Yeah,
Over the last 2 weeks, so.
I think I saw somewhere where you said, like, your vision got better?
Yeah, so glasses free. It was right before Kentucky that I had went to an IBO, and I had a really hard time judging. And usually that's one of the stronger areas of my game. And I came home and I took my glasses off just randomly, and I was like, I can see. So I hope the pregnancy hormones stay that way through the end of my pregnancy, and I might stay on prenatals the rest of my life. I don't know, the vitamins. But yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about this Halon 32. It flat out shoots, and I'm excited to be part of the Matthews team. And I'm shooting Tank 23s, Carbon Express, and Dead Center Stabilizers,
Yeah.
Excel, True Ball. So.
I love that you're shooting the 32. I mean, everybody's shooting the Target series. That's mainly a hunting, but what do you like about it? What's it doing for you?
For me, I can tell you that the string angle is huge. For me, being a woman, having a smaller from peep to anchor, distance, a smaller axle bow makes a huge difference. And I've always shot 32, 33-inch bows really well. And then 35, that's kind of my max. So I think that's made a huge part of it. Shooting a 6-inch brace height for 3D all year, and I fell in love with this bow the minute I picked it up. And it gets the speed, and I can shoot a 23 diameter out of it, and it's fantastic.
So tomorrow, we've just come off the course, but thinking to tomorrow, I'm going to ask you to think about tomorrow. What's your game plan? What do you do? How do you go into that?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing that I can say, obviously, you're thinking about a lot as a competitor. You're thinking about shooter of the year, you're thinking about the classic, you're thinking about a lot of things. And when you come into this tournament, you have to turn off that think. And you have to be focused on one target at a time, and staying determined to shoot the best arrow that you can on each one of those targets.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to take it one target at a time and see how it all plays out.
All right, Cara Kelly, women's pro leader here after day one. Kailey, how did it? You're at 8 up.
Yes.
How did it go today?
It went pretty good today. Just tried to keep my cool, just go at a steady pace. I hit a few 12s. I ended up hitting 1-8 today. My fault. Overjudged it. But other than that, it was just a pretty cool, steady day. We had lots of fun. We laughed the whole time in the group. It was just a really good day.
How does that help? I watched your group, and it was just like you said. You're joking, you're laughing. It doesn't seem like a high-intensity competition. How do you do that, and how does that help?
Well, you got to really know that, you can have fun out there, but there is a time to be serious. There is a time when you got to focus before you shoot. You got to go up to look at the animal. You just got to know your in-betweens, when you can joke around and when it's time to get serious.
Gotcha.
And we do really good at that. My whole group today. We joked around when we could, but then we were serious too. So.
Right. Was there any target that was, this lighting to me seems odd, there's shadows, there's sunlight, was there any target that was giving you difficulties in these conditions?
Yeah, of course. We played with shadows all day long. There were targets where you couldn't see the ground if you're a ground judger like me. It was kind of hard to do. But yeah, we played with shadows with it being this afternoon. But other than that, there wasn't no really other lighting problems other than the shadows of the trees, and that was it.
Gotcha. Okay, so going into tomorrow, we just ended, so I'm going to ask you to think ahead.
Yeah.
What's your approach for tomorrow? What's your game plan now?
Okay, try to keep the same routine. Just take it slow and steady. Go for the ones that I know I can hit. There were a couple out there that were definitely in range just to like go for, and you know, you don't want to lose points on them. Luckily today I hit them. So it's just kind of just a little pace, you know, just try to keep your cool. And
do you take it that just to try and get into the shoot down, or do you want to try and come off of here with the best score that you can? What's your thought process?
no, I want to come out of here with the best score that I can. Any points you can get ahead on the range, you don't have to make up in the shoot down. So definitely it's better coming out ahead of the game than being tied or behind. So that's my plan for tomorrow, is just do what I can do. I can't worry about anybody else. I can only worry about myself. So that's all I'm going to do tomorrow, is just worry about me and my shots, make great shots, and look at the targets, make sure I'm seeing the yardage, and make sure I'm good on my part.
Seemed like the pace of your group was pretty good today. I mean, you were ahead of a lot of the other classes. How does that happen? Is that just the nature of the group, or how does that happen?
It really just depends. Some shooters take longer than others to shoot, and I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just they take a little bit more time. I myself, I'm a quick shooter. I get up, I see my number, and I've already shot. You know, right. Some people, they take a little bit longer, but we moved pretty fast today. We didn't really have any point of time where we were just like stopped waiting. We moved the whole day.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, Kailey Johnston, co-leader Women's Pro after day one.
Well, thanks, PJ. Co-leaders in Women's Pro, and that is something spectacular. It's going to be a very interesting day tomorrow. Well, welcome everyone to the Lancaster Archery booth, and I am sitting with the known pro leader for the day. This is Garrett Erzman, who shoots for Elite. Garrett, congratulations.
Thank you.
So 30 up, and you shot 15 12s today. Absolutely on fire. Tell me about the day. Tell me about the course.
The course was awesome. You know, went out expecting kind of a little bit after last year. We shot in the same area. It wasn't the exact same range, but it wasn't soft, but it wasn't, you know, one of those you go out there and you just panic because they're all bombs. Mm-hmm. But it was doable. I mean, you got to take advantage of the close ones, and then you got to hopefully make points up on the long ones too, and just try to get ahead. And I was fortunate enough to catch most of the long ones today. I think I got them all but one. So.
Yeah, and there were some long ones today. It seemed like, at least from the people that I spoke with, that this course setup was a little longer than you normally have. Is that fair to say?
I want to say it was about average.
Okay.
You know, we've had some pretty tough courses in the past few years, and you know, it wasn't like anything last year in Foley. This year in Foley was pretty soft, and this year we've had some softer ranges, but you know, they kind of counter that and bring some harder ranges back in for us to kind of, you know, wake us back up some.
So. The one thing I think I'm thinking about is you're 30 up right now. The records say 54 up. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I hate to say this, man, but you're on course to possibly break the record. Is it something you're going to be thinking about tonight heading into tomorrow?
No, you know, I want to go back out and do what I did today. You know, I started off this morning a little rough, had to make some adjustments with my bow. Just was hitting a little low, but, you know, after that, the bow was pounding. And my goal today was go out, and I was looking at each target one at a time, thinking, you're either going to hit it or you're not. Do what you know how to do. Make a good shot, and then let it eat. You know, they fell where they needed to fall today.
All right. Let's talk about this field. We're sitting here. This is where the shoot-up's going to happen. What would it mean for you? You've already finished on the podium once this year. Augusta, you finished third. But putting yourself in a position tomorrow to get back to this field, how important is that for you?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, it'd be a great way to end the season. You know, this is our last ASA of the year, and, you know, that's really what we strive for, is this tournament right here all year long.
What about your competition? Who's right behind you?
It's going to be stout. You know, Stephen Hansen's 28 up, just right behind me. And then Jacob Marlowe, a good friend of mine, he's 26 up. So, you know, anything's possible. One target can flip everything.
Well, congratulations on today. Unbelievable score, 30 up, 12 X's. Good luck tomorrow, man.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us here. And now, of course, we continue our coverage as PJ was in the field, and he had a chance to talk to the senior pro. Here's PJ.
Okay, so we're out here, ASA Classic, day one, with the senior leader, Larry Goza. He is sitting at 12 up. Larry, tell us about your round. How was it out there?
It was a good course. I started off slow, stayed around even, 2 up, 4 up. I shot 1-8 today, and then the last 4 targets kind of got on fire and hit the last 4 12s, which worked out pretty good for me. I was struggling before that, though.
How do you, if you're struggling in the beginning, how do you do that to turn it on at the end? What happens?
I don't really know. I just try to stay in the 10, and then I got a little more comfortable towards the end. Maybe not as nerved up as you are in the beginning.
Yeah.
And got more relaxed, and just everything worked out good.
Did you? How were your numbers today? Did they start out same way, just a little difficulty, or what happened there?
I was missing numbers, of course, and I mean a little off here. I mean, I stayed right around the 12 just all day, except for the 1.8 I shot, and it's just it could have been better, but then towards the end it turned on. I was aggravated till then, and then all of a sudden, bam, I'm 12 up. It's like, wow.
And so, like we were just talking about, this is your first tournament with the new Realm X. How long ago did you set it up, and how do you feel with it?
I got it last Friday. It's probably one of the best aiming bows I've shot. It's just, the bow will drill. I really love it, and it's going to be really fast shooting it at IBO next week. That's kind of, I brought it here to test it for next week. So it was impressive today.
So me not being a pro, I got to ask, that it would seem to me picking up a bow just a week ahead of time, you can turn it on like that with a whole new setup?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the same. I mean, you're just shooting a bow. Just as you get all the kinks worked out of it, you know, you got to take time for cables and stuff to kind of seat in and stuff like that. But we shot some in the heat and stuff all week long, getting things seated in and stuff. And
So going into tomorrow, I know you just came off the course, but I'm going to ask you to think ahead. What's your plan for tomorrow, or what's your plan for tomorrow?
Try to stay in the 10, get as many 12s as I can. I shoot it all upper, so you know, it kind of helps a little if you fall a little low, but main goal is just shooting a 10.
Gotcha.
See what happens.
All right, Larry Goza, Senior Pro Leader after day one.
Well, Senior Pro is definitely going to be very exciting. Now we're back at the Lancaster Archery desk, and we're with the Men's Pro Leader. This is Brandon Reyes.
Yep.
Welcome to the desk, man.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that we got some coverage with the new cam system here that Lancaster has. It's going to be exciting.
Thanks a lot. And congratulations on leading today.
Thank you.
So 18 up. Tell me about the day.
You know, it was one of those days. I've had days like that here before, and just there's something about this place that really clicks with me. And I think it's you know, the terrain's not real difficult. It's pretty flat. You know, so we don't have any extra cuts or anything major on yardage. You know, basically it's, you know, judge a target and get it done. And I had a good day. I stayed in the 10 ring all day. And that's very vital in the unknown division, is to stay out of the, the rings that take points away from you, because it's so hard to hit the 12s. And, with the angling of the targets and, the distance where they're cutting your visibility down on the targets as well, it's just difficult to get a 12. So giving it up is not part of our rapport. So we want to do the best and keep it in the 10.
Now, for your class, very interesting course, I think, today, right? Because it was set up a little bit differently than we've seen in the past, where those targets are really close to each other. How did you find that in terms of being able to keep your focus in the way you were judging?
Yeah, I think if you get started and you get off to a good start, I think that doesn't really have much to do with anything. We've zigzagged, most of the year, so it was a little different, just shooting basically a conventional up one side, down the other. But it was pretty thick in there. I mean, there wasn't a lot of, instances where you could, be swayed by yardage of, another target. So it was tight. And, my first target, was a very long coyote. And literally standing at the stake, I could only see the midsection, the part that the 10 ring is in. So, it makes it very difficult to judge, and there wasn't much room to go right or left to kind of get a different angle. So it was tricky, and there was a lot of targets like that. And, anytime they do that or quarter them just a little bit, it makes that 12 ring so much smaller. So.
Let's talk about your relationship with the TRX 38 that you're now shooting, and how long it's taken you to kind of get used to just the differences in the bows.
Yep, I've shot the 38 most of the year, and as we were talking pre-show, it's kind of taken me a while to get used to it. But I'm shooting a higher poundage bow than I did last year, so that also, is muscle tone is different than it was last year. So. It's taken me all year to get around to, posting a good score, but, I've been right there, but nothing. It takes big scores to compete with these Morgans and McCarthy's and all those guys. So to be able to compete with them, you got to post those 18, 20 up days, and and fortunately I had a day where I stayed out of the 8 ring and was able to do that. And but the bow is phenomenal. I'm shooting the PS23s off of it now, which I started this season shooting a little bigger arrow and a little bit lighter point weight. So I reversed that about mid-season and shot a smaller diameter arrow with the 23 and a little bit more point weight. So things are working there. I've shot my same old trusty true ball release for the past 3 or 4 years. I'm shooting the Abyss thumb activated. I've just got timing down perfect with that. Trying anything new right now would be just silly. So, that's working. So I'm not changing anytime soon.
What about the people behind you? Who are you looking at for competition tomorrow? The normal suspects?
Well, I'm sitting 18, and there's a gaggle of guys at 8. But those guys are Dan McCarthy. He's always tough here. And I'll just tell you a little story. I led this tournament wire to wire about 3 years ago, until the very last arrow on this field, where Dan took me by 2 points. So a little redemption would probably be nice, but I'm just going to play it cool, play my game, I feel like I'm shooting the best I have all year. So as long as I, judge the targets relatively close, I think I can stay right in there with the guys. So, but Dan Levi's, only, 2 points behind him at 8 up. Always a contender, always a threat. He's won this thing, and shooter of the year, probably close to a dozen times. So you can't take that away from anybody. But there are a lot of good shooters. Chris Hacker's up there. Michael Evans is up there. It's just guys that have been consistent all year. So
when we get to this field and the shoot up happens right here, tell me what's the difference in how you approach it in terms of being able to judge it, versus the woods.
Yeah, it is totally different, completely different. A lot of times people will see the targets out here when they first look at them at a lot longer distance than what they actually are. Just been a wide open where there's no trees or anything like that, the target just looks farther. So we take that into consideration right off the get-go, and it's important to, it kind of just depends on where you fall in the lineup and what target you start on, but it's important to get that first arrow in there and a decent, close to the 12 ring or in the 10 to kind of verify your yardage for the rest of the night. So, it's vital to get good reads on the target. And like, as you can see, there's no trees, no tight lanes, so it's completely opposite. So it just comes down to experience in that point. And, if you've been in that situation or if you've been in a shoot-off, like the Classic or any of the other ASA pro shoot-downs, 98% of the time it's in the open. The only shoot we have some trees is, I believe, at Metropolis. So, it comes down to if you've been there before, and trying to, take that into consideration and, go in my experience.
Well, congratulations on leading today, and good luck tomorrow, and we hope to see you here for the shoot down.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.
So we're wrapping up ASA Daily for this one. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow and make sure you check us out. We'll have that after the pros get off their line. And you got to make sure you tune in for our live coverage. We're talking 10-plus cameras that we're going to have shooting the shoot down right here in the soccer field. That's going to happen at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. local time. You don't want to miss that. And the weather for tomorrow, well, we're predicting 90 degrees and partly cloudy with no rain in the forecast. What you could see tomorrow in ASA Daily are records broken. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this wrap-up show. Don't forget to share this with all your friends and let them know what we're doing. We're trying to bring you all the information from right here in Cullman, Alabama at the Delta McKenzie ASA Classic. We'll see you tomorrow.